On the halacha, if you're allowed to rent a space that you know is going to be used for a church, we already covered the halacha if you're allowed to build a church, that's for builders. We learned the halacha already if a jeweler could make a cross to sell to people that wear a cross. For jewelers, now we're learning somebody in real estate, you might have a facility that the tenant wants to be a church, or the one that if you're allowed to be halacha, to rent. It's such a shayla that took place, and somebody without looking into halacha, he said just opinion, but the halacha is not opinion. Halacha, it's what says in halacha. So it should be close to zero opinion. Should be 99% sources. Anyways, here's a Gemara. The Masechah Avodah Zarah, that's a Mishnah, really starts from the Mishnah, Daf Chof Amud Beis, and goes straight to Chof Aleph Amud Aleph. The Mishnah says like this: "En maskirim lohem botim be'Eretz Yisrael." In Eretz Yisrael, you're not allowed to rent to the Oivdei Kechovim homes. How much more fields? The reason for it, because in the field you have two reasons not to rent them. A, we're not allowed to give chanoya, meaning to camp them over there, to settle them over there in our land, and that's one. So that's why homes you're not allowed to give it to them; they have to be settled by Yidden, and by the fields also. If a Yid would own the field, they would give trumas amaisres. When you rented the field to the Nochri, to the Oived Kol Mazolas, they're not going to give trumas amaisres. So mafkia, you take away this mitzvah. Plus also the people that could benefit from this, Kayanim, Leviyim, Aniyim, now they're not going to have all this. So that's why you cannot rent homes or fields in Eretz Yisrael to Oivdei Kechovim. Uber Syria, maskirin lem bottom of a lost Syria, and David HaMelech conquered Syria. So the Mele, Syria, we'll call it today. So over there, some halachas were treated as Eretz Yisrael, some not. So over there in Syria, you could rent them homes, but no fields. Again, in Eretz Yisrael, no home, no fields. In Syria, you're allowed to give them homes, but not fields. Anything out of Eretz Yisrael, out of Syria, you could do sell them home, and you could rent them field, but not rent them homes, as we're going to see in a minute. Now, that's Divrei Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yossi Omer, he's more makel. Be'eretz Yisrael, maskirim lehem botim. You could rent them homes in Eretz Yisrael. Don't sell them, rent, you're allowed to rent them. Avalosh sodas, but you cannot rent them fields, again, because we don't want to be a loss of Trumas or Meiser. Syria, mochrim botim maskirim sodas. In Syria, you could sell homes and rent fields. Again, that's the most lenient opinion. Rabbi Yossi, moichrim elu v'elu. You could sell homes or fields to Akum and Chutz La'aretz. Now, he doesn't say, what about renting? Are you allowed to rent them? So then the Mishnah goes like this: Abba mokem shomru lahaskir lo lebezdira omru mepnei shu machnas esoich avodas kechovim. Now the Mishnah goes and like almost reverses the whole thing. Even though they say you're allowed to rent them your home, but says not the base dira. If you want as a warehouse, as an office, but if you want to live there, not because he's going to bring the Avodah Zarah. So it's for who it says, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Meir. Here's what the first one is like this. Amar Rabbi Mashma, halacha Rabbi Yosef. First of all, halacha like Rabbi. That's a paskel halacha. Less man the palik. It goes all the way from the Gemara Rabbi Mashma to the poskim. That in Chutz La'aretz, again the lashon if the Mishnah, you're allowed to sell them to the Chutz La'aretz. That Rabbi Yosef says. But Rabbi Yosef, Eretz Yisrael, maskirin lebein v'lo says, u'b'chutz moichrim elam elu v'elu. In Chutz La'aretz you could sell them homes, fields, you could sell them. Again, we don't know what the rental is. Now, then the Gemara says like this. Abba mokem shomer lahaskir, but the Mishnah says, even when you're allowed to rent them homes, it's only for office, warehouse, not for living, because you can bring Avodah Zarah. Bichlal deika duchte the loy mogre says, but mokem shomru. Mashma, there's some place you're not allowed to rent. The stomach, Rabbi Meir. It's only going to Rabbi Meir because in according to Rabbi Yossi, you're allowed to rent them in Eretz Yisrael and sell them in Chutz La'aretz. Even Eretz Yisrael will be allowed to rent them. So that goes according to Rabbi Yossi. The Rabbi Yossi b'chol duchta mogre. According to Rabbi Yossi, you're allowed to rent them every Chutz La'aretz. In Eretz Yisrael, even you're allowed to. How much more in Chutz La'aretz you're allowed to rent them? So comes out like if halacha like Rabbi Yossi, you're allowed to rent them fields, sell them fields, homes, sell, rent, everything you're allowed to do. According to this, if we go just straight from this Gemara and Mishnah and Gemara, you would be allowed to rent or sell them a facility if they want to build a church over there. That's what. Okay. So here is what La Halacha, what the poskim bring about this. the Rambam, like I said, there's nobody arguing. The Gemara already passed on Halacha Rabbi Yossi. So the Rambam, Hilchos Avodah Zorah, Perek Asirim, Halacha Gimel, and the Halacha like this, Halacha Gimel. Mutar limkor lem botim v'sodas b'chutz ha'aretz nashena aretzenu. He shies away from talking about rental, just selling them. Like I said, in Eretz Yisrael even you're allowed to, according to Rabbi Yosef, but he passes like Rabbi Yosef. Then he goes like, he brings the halacha. Ava mokem sheitiru la'askil ola bezdiro itiru neshu machli l'toch avodas kechovim. V'nema lo sovi so'eva el veisecha. It's like you're not allowed to rent them. According to this, l'choyre he passing like Rabbi Meir. A minute ago he passing like Rabbi Yossi. Now like Rabbi Meir. That's only according to Rabbi Meir that you're not allowed to rent them the home for avodas zarah. So the Lechamisha, they go all through this Lamaise without getting to the to it. It takes time consuming. Lamaise Halacha like Rabbi Yossi. That's what they say. You're allowed to rent them. You're allowed to sell them. B'chutz ha'aretz. It's no restriction. Now, just the Hagoyes Maimonides is summarize the shit of the Tosfos. Even somebody might think that the Rambam Pasken like Rabbi Meir, that you're not allowed to rent your home, your facility for church, for a place of Avodah Zarah. So that's what he summarized the shit of the Tosfos. The kids say like this: Mash'en onu nizorim elaskir Omar Ri. The Minatoira. Why we not allow? Why we not careful today? Looks like at the time of the Dagos Maimonides, they used to rent facilities to the Nochrim, to the Oivdei Mazoles. He says, and because the Minatoira and Israel, beveis Israel atzma dorsham. When midaraisa, when you're not allowed to rent to a Nochri, to Akum, a place, a facility, when you live there also with him, let's say you rent him a room, a space, that you're not allowed. You live there. You cannot bring a toyeva, or he's going to prove his avodah zarah over there. Yeah. So like this, Shar Botim and Israel midrabanan. Stop to rent to a Nochri, a place. Even you know it's going to bring the avodah zarah, it's midrabanan. Rabbanon logoza ela beretz Yisrael. Aval b'chutz la'aretz logoza. That's the summary of Divrei HaTosfos. B'meila and chutz la'aretz, you're allowed to rent them. If you're not living the same place you're renting them, you're just renting in the whole facility. It's allowed. Then he brings Rabbeinu Chaim, the Baal HaTosfos, bring a from the Yerushalmi. The Aval mokem shomer la'asker ad hom mokem shnag limker mochen lo afilu lebezdira. From Sefer HaTrum also brings Lamaisa. You're allowed, so according to Tosfos Rabbeinu Chaim, you're allowed to rent them. According to this, you'll be allowed to rent to a church also. Now, there's a few more heterim that the Bach brings why you would be allowed today to rent such a place to a place to for a church. One heter he brings that when you're not allowed to rent, even a condos which is in Machmer, to a Nochri, a place for a home or for this sake a church to bring the avodah zarah. Also, when it's fully yours, but if involved with a shutaf, you have a shutaf, a nochri, that it's not beisecha anymore. That you're allowed to. And he says today, he says anybody living in Chutz La'aretz will not fully own our homes because if you pay taxes, so you have a shutaf, the city, shutaf with you in your home. You pay taxes. You own the house, but you pay taxes. But for the city, since you're not alone, since they have also yad in your home, the city, memela. It's not yours fully. That's another heter. You're allowed to rent it to them. Then he says like this. Another heter he brings. He brings in that time of the Rishonim, in the time of the Ravan, one of the Rishonim. Looks like some countries were real avodah zarah. He brings two countries, Russia and Greece. Those two were big avodah zarah in that time of the Rishonim. So he says, afilu hochi, even they real avodah zarah. He says, noyagin heter. He says, and the reason for it, because since we pay taxes, he says, so you're not the full owner. The city owns partially your home because you have to pay them taxes. Well, that's the heter. Then he brings another heter. He says that today he says. That's he brought before. A lot of going today. That's the Ramo also to bring this heter. A lot of going today. They're not really. Most of the going. They're not really oivda avodah zarah today. They believe in a shituf. They believe in Hashem Echad, the Creator. So he says, here's the lashon of the Ramah. Since they believe Hashem, the Hashem Boyer Shemaim v'Oretz, they just believe there's a partner by the Eid, there's Isur Avodah Zarah, also by Shituf. Even you believe in Hashem Echad, you believe there's a manager, a partner. It's also by a Goy, it's mutter. In Siman Kuf Nun Vav, in Orachaim, the Ramah, the lashon of the Ramah. The Mechaber brought the Isur to make a shutfus with a goy because he might make you to give an oath on his avodah zarah. But it says, Ramah says, mekilim. Today you're allowed to do shutfus with a goy. B'zman hazeh mishum she'ena akum b'zman hazeh nishboim b'avodah acheres. If even they're going to give you an oath, they don't give an oath in avodah zarah. Why? They believe in some kind of avodah zarah. They believe in Hashem Echad. They say that Hashem created the world, and yes, they put a mamutza, another manager, a shutaf over here to run the world. For the goy, why? According to this, today according to Ramon, many poskim, the Bach also, most goyim today in the world, it's big enough community for many things. Bechal, they're not over the Zorah. A lot of them, they Hasidim Masoilom. If they keep Shalom Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, they believe in justice system, not to kill, not to steal. What they have, it's a shit of most of churches today. Most of what we call Avodah Zarah, they believe for us it's asur, for them it's mutter. It's could be glad kosher. Since they're not over the Avodah Zarah, it's only shituf. So according to halacha like Rabbi Yossi, and especially like we said, they're not b'chal over the Avodah Zarah, and it's chutz l'oret. There's no problem. Could be for a landlord to rent a facility for a church.